Yeah. Tell me what got going on that dirt. Yeah.
Yo, if I were podcasting, it would be insane. Knowledge flowing like the sweetest rain. Professor Bear on the mic, spreading wisdom wide. Of best thoughts, that's my pride, I can't hide.
With the voices in your ear, changing the game.
If I rule podcasting, every thought we'd ignite. In a world of chatter, we'll spark in the fight. With Professor Bear, we're climbing to new heights. A best thoughts podcast, shining bright in the night. Topics from the heart, never sounding the same. Got laughs and debates, never dull or bland. From culture to tech, take you by the hand. Join the ride with us, feel the vibe expand. With every episode, we shine that beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul.
So tune in, don't miss what we got to share. If I rule podcasting, I spread the love everywhere.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me this evening. I am Professor Bear, and this is A Bear's Thoughts. And my thought for tonight is 2026 has been such an amazing year. It's short, but it's been so much fun and exciting. I've been blessed to have so many great guests, new friends, family, WSN members, people who were super nice and gave me a break when I just started out. And that's why I came up with the concept of me doing a appreciation month for podcasters. I believe we work very hard to bring you fans the best that we have, and there are so many great stories behind why we became podcasters, how we fell in love with the sport we all love. But tonight, this gentleman right here, I have to say, really played a major role in where I am today. First time we met, he was a sweetheart. I mean, him and his wife, they are just so sweet of people, but he went out of his way to do things for me that a lot of people wouldn't do. He watched out for me. I could go on and on to tell you how much this gentleman is just a godsend. That he's who he is. He's not fake. He is truly a very humble and great guy. And I am so happy to have him back on my show. Man, it's so much going through my mind because, of course, before we came on there, we were talking, and then it got me to thinking about all the stuff we've experienced together and did things. And again, he really, and this is my first time saying it for him to hear how much he has, it has affected me as a podcaster, that I'm proud to be able to not only call him a fellow podcaster, but also a friend.
Oh, thank
So,
you, Bear.
man, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, Professor Bear, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for inviting me and having me on. It's a great blessing to always be in the great Professor Bear's, a Bear's Thoughts, and to be on the Wrestling Society Network. You don't know how much of a blessing it is, especially knowing that you are doing some of the best work in podcasting currently. And I mean, I know this is supposed to be about me, but my God, you guys are started a network. You've got it all over television. You got it on Roku. You've got it everywhere. And you're going to be expanding in the future, which is going to be really amazing. And not only that, but you're taking an interest internationally currently and taking it to the world and promoting in Japan, France, Australia. You're going into Iraq, Iran, all over England, the United Kingdom. And you guys are just making waves in the world of wrestling everywhere. And you inspire me. I want to be where you're at one day. And I know that's really weird for me to say, but you guys are doing so much good work at the Wrestling Society Network that I want to be where you're at someday, Professor Bear.
I really appreciate that. And I think it is when you, and we were talking a little bit about how podcasting can be just like wrestling. There are good people, there are bad people, there's snakes in the grass, there's all kinds of negativity. But when you actually get to meet someone as genuine as you, and you don't mind their company, and you have fun, and it makes things so much better, because in the end we all love wrestling. And I always say this, as a little kid, that stuck in my mind hearing this: leave the business better than you found it. And I truly know you are doing that. We are trying to do that, and that's what makes us such great podcasters, as I like to think and say.
I think that we're a rare commodity in the world of wrestling because there, like you said, there's a lot of personalities, there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of things that happen in wrestling. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. And sometimes you just don't have a say in what goes on. You just kind of got to grit your teeth, shut your mouth, and walk on till the next night. And then whenever the time is right, I mean, you can grumble about it behind closed doors, but when the time is right, pull that person aside and talk to them about what's going on. You know, there's a lot of issues that arise in wrestling, and we have gotten to the point to where sometimes we get the nitty gritty on all of our shows. We get to hear the good. We get to hear the bad. We get to hear the rumors. We get to hear the gossip behind closed doors. And we have to decide what is real news, what is fake news, and what is just the gossip train just trying to ruin somebody. And I hate to be that way, but sometimes you just have to let what's said to you go in one ear and out the other. And if you can't do that, you're not going to last very long doing anything that you try.
That's so true. As I look at things, we're all adults. Most of us are grown adults who know better. Why do we just go along with this silliness? But with that being said, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Let's have a little fun. And I have to ask you, like I ask all my guests, the first question: how did you get into wrestling?
Oh man. So my dad, God rest his soul, he passed away this year. My dad was a huge AWA, NWA fan, and he took my mom to Starrcade 88 with Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. And I was a baby. I was born in 87. They took me with them. And I don't remember what happened, but I remember that I can remember talking with my dad and talking with my mom about Starrcade 88. And then he would watch AWA, NWA, WCW when it changed over to WCW. And we would watch it every week religiously. religiously. And I'm talking the old World Championship Wrestling. You had the blue back with the television mat behind you and the podium, the white podium in front of you for your announcers. And Tony Schiavone was a baby, like a baby back then. Jim Ross was still announcing for WCW at that point in time. And I mean, it was just totally different. It was a different world, a different era, and just a different time. And that's really what brought me into professional wrestling. Now, as a podcaster, as a personality, a wrestling personality, there's a couple things that brought me in. So after I didn't graduate high school, let me set the tone for that. I actually went into the Army and got my GED through a program called Walk to Success. They sent me to Little Rock, Arkansas, to a training center called PEC, Professional Education Career Center, in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I did some time up there and got my GED. Well, before basic training, I was working at the what was used to be the WB53 in Chattanooga. And I would take some videos and take some stuff for the church up there. And church had a program that was there. And then one of the guys offered me a job at the WB because I was faithful to bring the tapes in. And so I would gather tapes and bring them in from all over the little local networks that wanted to do it. And then it came down to a meeting one time. We had a meeting, a little board meeting about who they wanted to hire on to work the office. And I ended up getting that job. I ended up working the office. Well, one day, and I'll never forget it. It was in 2003. It was in 2003. In walked the roughest man that I think I've ever seen in my life, and tattoos on his forearm, big burly man, and he talked like this. And that was Harley Race. Harley Race walked in. Didn't know him from Adam. And he had a tape, and he handed it to me, and he told me he didn't care what time. He didn't care how much it cost. He didn't care what it was going to be, that he wanted that tape to get on the air in our area. He wanted to put professional wrestling on the air in our area. Well, of course, I was just a desk clerk. I had to take it to somebody and let them rewatch it and review it. Well, then they had a meeting, and the person that was supposed to be in the meeting called out of that day. And so they pulled me, the desk clerk, in. And it was a 7-person vote, 7 people on the board. And I was the last one. And we swung it 4-3 for it to go on at 2:30 in the morning. It was for Saul Wrestling out of Nashville. He was bringing tapes in from Nashville to put on for us. And at that time, I think it was Kid Cash. I think Kid Cash was the big guy that was in Saul. And that was kind of my introduction, really, like, to kind of get into the business, because he would come every week and give, or he would have somebody come every week and give us tapes. And one of the times that he came in, and now, mind you, he's paying a bunch of money, like over $20,000 a month, just to put wrestling on in the Chattanooga area. Wow. And so one of the times he comes in, he says, "Hey, kid," he said, "what are you doing this weekend?" And I said, "I'm not really doing anything, Mr. Race. I'm off this weekend." And he goes, "Why don't you come out to Troy? We got a lot of good stuff going on. I'd love to have you come out. If you can't make it, just let me know and I'll get you a ticket. We'll get you out there." And so it just so happened that I didn't have nothing going on. I had the gas and I went to Troy, Missouri. And, it just got to see my first show at the old Harley Race Arena that was down there, the old Tree Stone Limps that's down there. And right on the Main Street, beautiful city section that was out there. And God, just got involved that way. And then it went from just going to shows every once in a while to, can you clean the toilet? Can you put chairs out for us? Can you make sure that the ropes are tightened? Can you make sure that this is going on? The apron's tightened. And so I just started doing little things here and there. I didn't really get in the ring for a couple of years. I didn't get my real education for about 2.5 years from that point. Got discharged from the Army and came out of the Army. Once I got out, got discharged, and was just working with him on a regular basis, like maybe twice a month, 3 times a month, just doing some things here and there and helping him wherever he needed it. And then I kind of went through a little hiatus. We had about a 7-year drought where we didn't do hardly anything in professional wrestling. And it just so happened that Dr. Tom was hosting in Florida. He was hosting for, at that time, it was the real NXT, but it was Tough Enough. It was called Tough Enough. And he was hosting for them to, he was doing like entry rounds for them. And we went and did an entry round and we got put out. We were actually really bad. I mean, extremely bad. So there was about 600 people who showed up to the tryout. I think I got put out at 444 or 445. So I got put out really early inside the original Tough Enough tryouts. And I didn't make it on the show, didn't make it to anything. This was just hey, if you're interested, send us your tapes, get it out there. And he pulled me aside and he said, kid, you can talk. He said, you've got it. You've got the voice. He said, you don't have the body. You don't have the training. He said, but if you'll get in a school, if you'll figure out what you're doing, he said, you're going to have a job in this business somewhere. He said, because you can talk. And I took that to heart. I really took it to heart. So I kind of went around for the next few years and tried to get into every little school I could try to get into and tried to work myself around. And I didn't do very well. And I've never been able to claim that I'm a worker. I can hit the mat pretty good. That's about all I can do. You can hit me and I can hit the mat pretty good. But as far as giving you an arm drag, throwing you off the ropes, shooting you off the ropes, doing a leapfrog, jumping over you, I have zero athleticism in my body. I'll be the first one to tell you. And he wasn't the only one that's told me that. It's been told to me several times. So I just kind of traveled around to Memphis, traveled around to, which we were doing really, really outlaw shows in Memphis. And the school I went to was actually in the back of a grocery store in Memphis whenever I was doing that. To go from that and then kind of move back into the Cookeville area. And they have a promotion called IWF right now in Cookeville, Tennessee. But IWF wasn't there at the time. It was actually CWF at one point in time that was hosted in the Armory, and did a little training with the guys at CWF, and then moved back to the Chattanooga area and kind of got lost again and didn't do anything, fell out of it. Well, one night I ran into Dr. Tom. I ran into him at an NWA show, and he remembered me. He remembered me from the TNA tryout. He knew who I was. I had no idea that he would even remember me. And he had long hair at the time. Like, he was still the body. He didn't have short hair. He wasn't skinny. He was still buff and thick. And he came over to me and said, hey, kid, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, what? And he goes, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing right now? Are you busy? Are you working? And I said, no, Dr. Tom, I'm not working nowhere. And he said, we're short tonight. Do you want to call the show? And I was like, me call the show? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, why would you want me to call the show? And he just said, look, I know you can talk. I know you can do this. You need to start using your mouth. If you're going to get in this business, you need to get in it right now. It's a yes or no thing. You decide right now if you want in this business. And I told him, I said, yeah, okay, I'll get in this. We'll do this. So, and it was probably the worst I've ever done. I mean, I was so nervous. I was shaking. I was just, and I'm in street clothes. Like, I'm in a polo shirt and blue jeans like I am right now. And I'm calling some indie wrestling in a t-shirt and blue jeans. And I'm listening for the other guy to kind of call off him. And I'll never forget it. His name was Victor Davis. And he's calling, he's saying, oh, that's a great suplex. And that's this. And I'm just trying to call off him like, oh yeah, that's a wonderful suplex, Vic. And this man is just going to be great inside the ring. And I'm trying to call off everything he's doing back and forth and just mimicking stuff that he's saying to me. And after the show, Doc comes over to me and he pulls me aside and he said, listen, he said, you're going to have butterflies every time you do this. You're going to be nervous every time you do this. You're going to have problems every time you do this. He said, but that was piss poor. And the next time I ask you to do this, you better be golden for me. And so a couple weeks goes by and I get a text message, and I haven't given anybody my number. My mom's got my number. My dad's got my number, but it was the same number I had in Florida. And I didn't know that he still had all that stuff on file. And he asked me to come again and do some tapings with him. So I went. I just went down and we started doing some recording and some tapings and got behind the announce booth and just announced for a couple shows. We did about 4 shows for him. It was in a studio. I can't remember exactly. I know it was in Tampa, but I don't remember the building that it was in. It wasn't the PBS studios, but it was close to PBS studios on the outskirts.
Oh, okay.
And we did about 4 shows there. And one of them was an MLW show that we did. And after the MLW show, I'm doing this for free. I'm not making any money. I'm just doing it because I was asked to. He comes out and he pulls me to the side and he said, kid, he said, that's what I'm talking about. He said, you've got a mouth. You're going to learn how to run it, and you're going to learn how to run it in this business. And he said, somebody's going to see it in you one day, and they're going to realize that there's a diamond in the rough, and they're going to use you. They're going to use you like you've never believed before. And he said, if they don't use you, you're going to figure out how to use yourself in somehow, some way to be in this business. You're going to figure it out. He said, because you've got too good of a mouth. And if you can talk, you'll have a job. But if you talk and work, you'll always have a job. And that stuck with me. So a couple years goes by, and I've just done maybe a booking here and a booking there and a booking here and a booking there. And, not really getting a whole lot of bookings, but maybe like 15 to 20 a year, sometimes more, sometimes less, but a couple years goes by that. And then I just get completely out of the business in about 2011. And so somewhere around that area, I got married and went through some stuff there and got a divorce and had some issues that happened personally in my life. And I was completely out. And numbers changed, addresses changed, moved, been different places, tried also. I drove truck. Literally drove truck, like long haul trucking, CDL, over the road driving. I did trash truck for a while. I did groundskeeping. I just did everything that I could do, and everything was eating at me, Professor Bear. Like everything ate at me. Everything I was doing, I felt like I wasn't where I was called to be. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And there was something that just kept calling me and kept saying, you got to get back in, and you got to do something, and you've got to be back where you need to be, and you just got to do it. And I just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And fast forward to about 2019, the beginning of 2019, the end of 2018, I thought, what have I got to lose? I'm going to start a podcast. What do you have to lose? What do I have to lose at this point? If nobody likes it, nobody's going to listen to it. Well, I've got a podcast. I can at least say that I'm successful in something, whether anybody listens to it, anybody subscribes to it, anybody knows about it, if it gets put on the air, if it doesn't. So I had to find out the attractions to go to, the spaces to go to, the hosts that would host your podcast, how to record. I had to learn how to use software, how to use a DAW, a recording software, how to use a actual board, a motherboard to record, how to make sure that you're live, how to use camera, how to use lighting. I had to go through and kind of do the school of hard knocks on how I was going to do things. And then some things came easy from professional wrestling, but other things came hard because I was never introduced to it on a personal level. I always got to see it from afar and watch other people do it and thought, okay, well, I can do that. But when I started to do it, it was a real challenge for me, and I had to learn it. I had to learn how to take care of things. And I'm going to give a big shout out here, even though I shouldn't, to Podbean. Podbean went up on the rates, and that was one of the reasons why we left them. But Podbean was actually the first place that I was able to broadcast to. Podbean.com for you guys that are out there trying to learn and trying to listen. Once you're able to record in a DAW, you can make it into either an MP4, an MP3. You can make it into a WAV file. You can make it into a video file for MP4 as well. And certain hosts will allow you to host as long as you pay them. And they go to different places, like iHeartRadio. Well, Podbean had it all at the time. They were the number one podcasting group. And at that time, it was about $19 a month to get hosting. It's a little bit more. They've gone way up on the rates. They're a little over $30 a month now. But they were one of the biggest companies, and you had to jump through hoops. You had to learn how to put your RSS feed in. You had to figure out from each platform how to put your RSS feed in and get it locked in. And for those of you that it sounds like I'm speaking Chinese, your RSS feed is your feed from your podcast, whatever you want to name it. Let's say it's Wrestling with a Cause, Wrestling for a Cause, or Wrestling Beyond a Cause. Whatever you name your podcast, your RSS feed is that with some numbers behind it, and you're linked directly in to that podcast. And you have to go to each site that you want to host on. So Audible, iHeartRadio, YouTube, wherever you're at, and you have to go through some hoops with them and put your RSS feed in. You have to give them an email. You have to give them payment information just in case that it becomes a monetized podcast. And once you get those hoops taken care of, they broadcast you, and you don't have to worry about anything. As soon as you load your first one in and you put your WAV file in or MP3 file in and you send it off, within 48 hours, it's within the directories that they have available to you. And some people have thousands of directories. Some people only have 30 directories. Some people have 12 directories. Well, Podbean had about 250 that they went through originally. And I was one of the guys that got grandfathered into the original 250 with them when I was there. And we just used them. And so moving on from that is we learned how to do that. We learned how to do the software side. We learned how to put our podcast in. We learned how to record it. And then it started to be, how can we go live? What do we need to do to go live? What do we need to do to get in front of the camera? What do we need to do to make sure that we can have a live feed and a podcast at the same time and kind of put them in simultaneously? And that just comes with time. There's some people that can do it directly on a live feed. They can have it hosting through, let's say like Streamlabs. I'm still partnered with streamlabs.com. So you can host through the Streamlabs OBS and have all your video feeds set through the OBS directly, or you can use somebody like StreamYard, like we're on tonight, or Restream.io, which I use very often and I'm very familiar with the Restream. And I love it. So I started learning how to live stream and use the softwares that were given to me. At first, I started with Streamlabs whenever I started doing video. And then when I progressed and got better equipment and better things, we moved into Restream.io. And been with Restream since they first launched, since they opened their doors. And we have been one of the only grandfathered. We're actually one of 130 people who are grandfathered into the rate that we've got with Restream.io. And it will never change for us. So I'm very happy on that front. And I would encourage all of you to learn the different softwares, learn what you got to get into. And don't worry, for anybody watching out there, don't worry about having the best equipment. Don't worry about having a Rode Pod mic or an EV mic or a Soundhauser mic. If you've got to start, I've got a Blue sitting over here, and I started with a Blue microphone that was a USB microphone. I also have inside of my closet, I keep all my microphones. I've got a PreSonus Revelator microphone that's inside, and I started with those two microphones. One of them was used at my dad's house because my dad used to be very sick, and we'd have to go over to his house and sometimes host while we were at his house. And then the Revelator was used here inside the studio at our home. And so I had a mic for both. They were both USB compatible microphones. I started with those. And then whenever I was comfortable, I started to look to get better equipment, and I started to move into better equipment. But I had to make sure that I was comfortable. I knew that whenever I recorded something, I didn't mess up. I knew how to clip stuff out if sometimes you don't realize, but when you're recording stuff and you're recording live, you can't cut it. You can't cut the feed. So if we were doing just a radio show, if I've got, we're on 26 stations currently with our radio show, Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver. But if we were on a radio show and I had to send them a WAV file or an MP3 or an MP4 file for them, I'd have to go back through and edit that file out just in case I said F because I messed up, or the S word because I messed up, or D because I messed up. And you don't realize that there's a lot of pressure on you. So you have to learn how to edit inside the software and how to use the software properly. And I use Studio One. I'm going to give everybody that one. I don't have a newer version of Studio One. I have Studio 1.6 is what I've got. I didn't buy 1.7, haven't issued into the 1.8 upgrade yet. I still use Studio 1.6 because it works. You use whatever works for you and whatever you're comfortable with. Whatever DAW that is, whatever recording software is, whatever USB device that you have as your sliders. Like we've got a Rodecaster 2 now. I told you I started with the Revelator. The Revelator did it all in one with digital. Then we went to the Blue microphone for my dad's house. So I used Logitech. I used the Blue Hub for Logitech for a long time at his house. I had to get comfortable with both of those in order to make a transition. And now we use a Rodecaster 2, Rodecaster Pro 2. And each one is different. Everyone's different. Everything's got different things. But for those of you that are out there wanting to learn and get into it, you can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to ask somebody anything. You never know who's going to come on your show. You never know who's going to say yes to you. And then as we were talking about Professor Bear before we came on, there's people sometimes that will tell you yes, and they'll never show up. And so you just always have to be ready just in case that happens. It happens all the time. Does it not, Professor Bear?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And so you just have to be ready. So sometimes it's me and my wife. We'll do a show together and we'll host it together because something fell through, whether it's a family emergency or somebody doesn't show up or somebody has ghosted you completely and they stop talking to you about the dates that you had available. They don't answer your invites. They don't go to your links and look, even after they've agreed verbally to come on. You just have to keep going and you have to keep pushing and you have to keep moving. Are you going to get angry? Yes. Or is it going to make you feel like you want to quit? Yes. It's going to make you feel all of that. It's going to make you have those emotions on the inside of you for all of that. But you know, if you just keep going and you just keep doing it, you get better every time you do it. Not only do you get better, but you get to do things that you never thought you would ever be able to do. You get to talk to people you never thought that you'd be able to talk to in your life. And you get to listen to their story. You get to pull it out of them. You get to ask questions that nobody else may ever have thought of. And you know what? You get the blessings from it. And a lot of people want instant overnight success, Professor. And I don't know your story. I don't know if you had instant overnight success, but I didn't. I broadcast for 2 years with 0 followers. 2 years with 0 followers. But I kept doing it. And I kept putting shows out every week. And I kept listening to things. And I kept going to wrestling shows and talking about those wrestling shows. And really, when things took off, it was the end of 2023, the beginning of 24. There was a promotion in my hometown named Championship One Wrestling. And they're currently out of business, but they ran some of the best shows in this little area in McDonald, Tennessee, outside of Cleveland, Tennessee, and outside of Ottawa. And Dalton Jones was very gracious to me and gave me complete access and told me to go ahead and film anything I wanted to film and talk about anything I wanted to talk. And Dalton came on, and the first time he came on was the first time that I had viewers, the first time ever that I had anybody watch me live. And he just changed the entire world for me. And I've got to say that. And then my second guest was Evan Golden. And Evan Golden came on, and it was a whole new world. And then we were off to the races. We knew that we were getting followers. We knew that we had people. We went from literally having no views the past 2 years to some months getting over 80,000 views on and 80,000 views on Instagram and 65,000 views on YouTube and 25,000 views on, Rumble. I mean, we went from just doing that. And, there's a lot that goes into it. You have a lot of post-production. You have a lot of things that go into this business if you're wanting to get into it. The main thing is don't quit. Don't let the money game hurt you, because somebody is always going to have something cooler than you have.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to want it. Professor, am I telling the truth?
Yes, you are. It is always going to be that way. And the thing, like you said, you just have to continue doing for you. Yeah. And know the reason why you're doing it. Is this to try to make money? Is it trying to become a star? Or are you doing this just because you love talking about wrestling?
Right.
Whatever it is for you, you have to be honest with yourself. First and foremost, be honest with yourself. Then start taking steps. Are you going to fail? Yes. We all fail. We all struggle. But then you learn to grow. You learn to be tougher. One of the biggest things that really cemented for me that I was doing a good job is when I saw comments It may have been one, it may have been two, but I saw comments and I got to thinking, somebody took the time out to listen to my story, whatever it is, and I mean something to them. From there, it was like, I don't care how tired I am, I'm going. I have to, because someone is dependent on me to help make their day brighter.
Professor, do you remember the first comment you got? Do you remember what it was?
Oh no, I don't. Well, and here's the funny thing. When I first got started, I was always in a team format. And I was like, yeah, I can bounce off a person. I'm very good at that. But then I got to having my own. I'm like, I don't know if I can really talk and make it where people will enjoy it. But I knew I had some ideals that only I could bring out of me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're going to try it. And the second interview, no, it was the third episode. I decided I was going to talk about Chris Benoit. And I was like, I know that's going to draw heat. People are going to feel whatever way. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't care. I'm talking about him and why I feel the way I do about him. And just so happened, we had got it where people could call in.
Oh, yeah.
And so and people were calling in, giving their 2 cents. It was just a fun experience. I was like, oh, wow. So I'm like, okay, I'm good. Well, not every ideal you have is going to be a home run.
Right.
So I went, had some bad ones. Then I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this. Then I got a chance to go to Dallas, Texas, to actually meet some of my brothers in the WSN for the first time. Went there, enjoyed that. I actually got to go into a wrestling ring, and not just a wrestling ring, a cage ring. I was part of the show. So when I came back home, I was like, I'm about to get serious. I'm about to get serious and go hard at this. If I don't have but one person listen or none, I'm doing this. I'm getting guests, and it's been going ever since. And I have so much free time. I'm like, I can do this. And then, like you said, I had a producer who was doing everything for me. Well, then they got busy with their lives and everything they wanted to do. And I'm like, oh, I had to postpone a bunch of times. I'm like, no more. I have to learn. I learned. Now I can do when I want, how I want, and make it good. Like you said, I never gave up.
And that's it. It's a learning process, and you can't give up. My first comment I ever got was from a girl named Kayla Revley, and she was real big into Championship One Wrestling. It was on the Dalton Jones. Well, at that point, he was Dalton Blake inside the wrestling business. It was on his podcast where he had just turned against his tag team partner and turned on him in a horrible way, hit him with the tag team championship, stole the tag team championships, and ran out. And she commented on there that he was no good and that he would never be anything, and that he was hoping that Ray Steele, which was his tag team partner, would get his revenge. And I can remember that vividly. That was the first comment I ever received. And so you remember stuff. You remember milestones in your journey. And it's like we told you, don't worry about having the best stuff, because you're going to have milestones in your journey. I remember my 15th episode that I ever posted, I got a little thing in my email that said, congratulations on your 15th episode. We hope you get to 1,000 soon. And it was just something that may have not been personal to anybody else. But once you reach 1,000, then it's a big deal, because you have content that can last 2 years. You know, you got to think 365 times 2. You got almost 1,000 shows. You got 2 years worth of content that can be out there. And so, you know, just little stuff in this business whether it's wrestling, whether it's podcasting, whether it's video, if you're an audio technician, whether you're a video technician, a cameraman, whatever you do inside this business, don't let it distract you, because it's all important. Every little bit of it's important. And don't let anybody treat you like you're garbage.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing is you're going to run across people who think, well, you've never been in the ring. You've never done anything. Why should I listen to you? You're just a mark. You have no idea what you're even talking about or why you're talking about it. You need to be out of this business. You're what's wrong with professional wrestling. You're what's wrong with podcasting. You know what? I might be what's wrong with podcasting. I might be what's wrong with professional wrestling, but I got over 1,000 people weekly that watch my show on a Tuesday night. And on Thursday night, we can have upwards of 15,000 people that watch it for our secondary show, which I'm going to give them a shout out. It's through none other than River City Media. It's Still Real to Me podcast. So, you know, we have people that watch these things, and we mean something to these people, whether it's just one little break inside their life, one little thing to keep them away from the news, one little thing to keep their mind occupied on anything besides the hardships that's going on in their lives. And it's given them the escape that they need to have something special. Some people say, well, I go to church for that. Well, there's some people that don't go to church, and we're their church. And we have to remember that is if they don't go to church, we want to show them the best representation of professional wrestling that we can. And it doesn't matter if it's a show in a grocery store or if we're talking about WWE at the pinnacle, at the top. We want everybody to realize that no matter where you start, no matter where you've been, no matter where you're going to go, we're going to support you, and we're going to support professional wrestling. Are we going to make mistakes along the way, Professor? Absolutely. 100%. All of us are. But we're going to talk about it privately, and we're going to deal with it privately. Don't deal with your problems publicly, because they become bigger issues. You deal with them privately. If you make a mistake, and I'll give you a perfect example, stuff that's happened in my own life. If you make a mistake, or your spouse makes a mistake, and what I mean by that is if somebody goes outside the marriage and they do something, are you going to tell everybody you know that this has happened? No, because you're hurt. And if you do tell anybody, it's coming from that place of hurt. You want to internalize stuff that happens like that, because you don't want it to happen again. You want to figure out what you can do to make it better. And in some cases, there's no making it better inside your relationship. You just have to cut ties and move on with whatever it is. And if you come across a promotion that's doing stuff that's like that, cut ties and move on. And you know what? If they say stuff about you, if they're talking about you, there's no such thing as bad publicity, baby. You get good publicity no matter what. And I'm telling you, I've had a lot of bad things said about me, a lot of bad things said about me, including the P word. You know, I've had that said about me from people that were really close to me at one point in time that knew what was going around, knew what was happening, knew the situations that were involved, and it wasn't true. None of it was true. And it came out into the light, but it took 2 years to come out into the light, and things changed because somebody started a rumor and somebody said something, and it got from Joe Schmo to Joe Rowley to little Jim Snuffy, and it just went around in a circle that way. And people started saying things. And it took me 2 years to clear my name with everybody, and 2 years to prove that what was said was a lie. But you know what happened to the person who said it? They got caught in the exact thing they accused me of. And they were the ones that did it. So you have to know when to fight your battles, when to speak up, when to be silent, and when to move on, and what to do in those situations. There's a lot of learning in life in general, Professor Bear, and nobody is there. Nobody's arrived. We've all got shortcomings. We've all got issues. We've all got things we're fighting and struggling with every day. And let me tell you, the best thing we can do in life is find our escape. It's finding what's most important to us and something that we can have an outlet on. When you don't have any hope, when you don't have anybody that you can trust, when you don't have anything, you have to have something that you can hold on to get you out of where you're at. People fight depression. They fight alcoholism. They fight drugs. And I'm speaking from a personal experience. My brother is a recovering addict. He was on drugs for over 15 years, and he's been clean the last 4 years since he's had a baby girl. And I'm telling you, the demons people fight and the lengths that they're willing to go to fight to make sure that they have a better life, you have to fight it every day. There's things that are going to come your way, and you're going to have to fight it. You're going to have to tell it no. You're going to have to tell it that I'm better than this. Because the voices that you hear in your head, they're going to tell you you're never going to be anybody. You're never going to do anything. You're never going to make a difference in anybody's life. You're never, ever going to be somebody. But you know what? I am somebody. I'm somebody right now. I was somebody when they were speaking to me then, and I'll be somebody tomorrow. And I'm going to be somebody the rest of my life. And that's how you have to deal with it. You're somebody right now, whether you believe it or not, wherever you're at, you're somebody right now. And I don't believe that this is an accident. Professor Bear, I don't like to bring religion into a lot of things, but I believe God gave you the platform for a reason, because you get to reach people that nobody else would get to reach. And you get to reach them with wrestling, and you get to reach them with your thoughts on things. But I believe right now that we're reaching people that need to hear this. You may have been told your whole life that you're not good enough, that you'll only be a drunk, you're only going to be a drug addict, you're only going to be a thief, you're only going to be a robber, and you're never going to amount to nothing. You're only going to live in prison. But that's not true. And I'm going to speak that into your lives right now. Is you're somebody today, and you're better than everything that anybody has ever spoken to you. You are the best that you will ever be, and you're going to get better every day that you live. And you're going to continue on this journey in life, and you're going to become something and somebody. You're going to be not only that somebody you want to be, you're going to do things that you never thought you were going to do in life. And I'm going to speak that into each and every one of your lives who watch this tonight. I believe that with my whole heart, because you couldn't tell me when I was homeless. You couldn't tell me that I was going to do this when I was living in my car. You couldn't tell me that I was going to be somebody, and that I was going to get married and have a beautiful house, and I was going to have 3 cars outside. 3. I never dreamed of that. Whenever I was struggling at my worst, whenever I was selling cars and living in my car, you could never tell me that I was going to be somebody, but I believed, and I had hope, and I had faith that one day something would turn around. You couldn't tell me when I was living at my mom's house and living at my dad's house. After I had been in the Army, I was considered a failure. My early 30s, living with my parents, considered a failure, considered that I would never do anything in life. But you know what? God had different plans, and he knew the right people to put in my life that could jolt me. He knew the right people to say the right things to me, to push me. And then this past year, not only podcasting, but we got to host at the School of Morton and Smoky Mountain Pro. We got to talk. We got to be behind the mic there. We got to run a great podcast with Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver this last year. We had over 30,000 views directly to Buzzsprout directly, and over 60,000 downloads in the past year. We've had a tremendous time doing this. And we've got to meet the most exceptional people in the world. The most exceptional, from TKO Josh Turner to the Kazana boys, AJ, and none other than Casey Kazana and Papa Joe Kazana, Mama Kazana, meeting Billy Corgan this past year, and just being able to be in the industry with the National Wrestling Alliance and to work closely with the National Wrestling Alliance to help them and to help them succeed. This past year, meeting EC3, got to meet Santino Marella, got to do shows with everybody. You never thought that it would be what we're doing right now. Now, do we make the money we want to make? Absolutely not. But you know what? One day it's going to happen. And Professor Bear, I've learned along the way that a lot of times people want to know if I have a degree in what I do. And the answer is no. I started with nothing. I have a high school diploma or a GED. I have a GED. I don't really even have a high school diploma. I've got my just got it done education. you know? So, and that's where I've started at. But I've learned that people, whenever you start going into the business, they want to know if you have your formal education. And I never thought that I would be able to get back in school or to do things for school. And I got back into college this year. So, you know, I'm working on getting a sports broadcasting degree. And I'm going to get that out there. It's going to be a little less than 2 years from the credits that I had, which they accepted from the Army and from Cleveland State Community College, which is the college in my hometown that I went to before. Right around 2 years, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but right around 2 years roughly is what it's going to be to get that degree. And there's going to be doors that are going to be opening in our future that we didn't think that we were going to be able to have from that. So you got to just keep plowing on and keep moving on and keep running the circuit. And, you know, God's just been good to us, whether we want to admit it or not, to each of us. And if you don't believe in God, the higher power or whatever you believe to has been good to all of us. And he's made sure that we have been taken care of, even in our lowest of lows, when we didn't know what we were going to eat, where we were going to stay. We didn't have any money in our pocket to get to the next town. Miracles just happened out of nowhere. People came up to me and would just give me money sometimes. And they didn't know me. They would just say, I feel like I need to give you this. And it'd be $25 or $30 and it'd put gas in my tank to get me to the next town. And, you know, it's just things like that happen all the time. And I've been extremely blessed. I've had a lot of stuff happen in my life. I've had a lot of hardships happen in my life, you know, and we don't talk about all that stuff. My brother, who was the drug addict, actually died twice when I was in high school. He died twice. He was 19, about to be 20. He died from a drug overdose twice on the table, and they brought him back. He has no intestine, larger intestine. He has about 6 inches of a lower intestine. From where they had to cut him open and the drugs had eaten all of his insides. And we don't tell these stories. My dad was on dialysis for 15 years, and finally got a kidney out of that, and then went back into renal failure before he died and ended up passing away. But, you know, God was really great to us. He didn't take my brother. It wasn't his time. And he could have taken my father, but it wasn't his time. They still had purpose. Dad had to put something in me. My brothers had to put something in me. And it's made me tougher because I've had that life. I've had that growing up. And there's people out there that you understand because you've been through some of the same things in your life. And you have a story that needs to be told. You have something that happened to you that needs to be told. And the best way to do that is just start today. Start with what you got and go. If all you got is a laptop computer or a regular computer that's got a camera and a microphone on it, you start with that and you work your way out. And you know what? It will happen for you. Whenever the time's right, it'll happen for you. Whenever you're at your lowest of low, it will happen for you. A miracle will happen for you. Whenever you think you're about to give up and there's nothing going to happen for you that's going to be great, something will happen. Some miracle will happen. It'll turn around for you. You can do anything in this world within 24 hours. You might be at the very bottom today, but tomorrow you could have $1 million contract in your lap.
Exactly.
So you can't ever give up. I'm sorry, I kind of hijacked your show, Professor.
That's, you know what? Like you said, someone needed to hear that.
Yeah.
And my thought is, why not hear from my show? Why not hear it from you? This is the type of thing that when I met you, I just felt some kind of spirit with you. And like I said, you've been nothing but kind. You're just one genuine person, and you just try to see the best of everyone. And you easily, when things are in a position, you move out the way, you know how to handle it the right way. And if anybody is going through something right now, if you didn't get anything else out of this conversation, I want you to know that you matter and never stop trying. You're going to fall down, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going. That's all you can do. When it's meant to happen, it'll happen.
And don't be afraid to reach out to try to talk to other people. Don't ever be afraid. If you need help, if you really need help, I believe that God puts people in our lives and he can put the right person in your life. And if you tell one person and they don't know, they might know the person who does know.
Yep.
And so you might be telling somebody and you think that they don't have a clue of what they're going to do or how they're going to help you, but they're going to find the right person to help you. And it might be an angel. That's the way I feel about it.
And not to put business out there, but it was sometime last year when you were about to your lowest, and just so happened, and it was so ironic because I reached out to you for something else, and you're like, "I'm just done." I'm like, "No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You are too good. You're just having a bad spell. You're gonna shake it off, and everything's gonna be all right." I don't know why we talked that day, and I didn't care why. I was just glad to help a friend and let a friend know if he needed me, I would be there.
And I really believe that, Professor Bear. I believe that it was not a mistake that you contacted me because I was going through some real rough stuff at that point in time with people. I went through probably about 4.5 months of no shows. And I was just doing the show by myself and just trying to push and just trying to grind. And this is what we were talking about earlier. You're going to have people that are just unfaithful. Sometimes they're just going to turn on you. And, you know, it makes you feel a certain way on the inside. You're going to get angry. You're going to get mad. You have stuff that happens. But you've got to be able to bounce stuff off of somebody. And I was really ready to quit. Like, that's it. I'm done. You know, we're about to walk away from this. And it just took the voice of reason. It took a friend to reach out. And you just wanted to talk. You were just wanting to see how we did something on our show. And I was really honored that you even wanted to see that. But when I opened up to you, you were ready to give me what I needed and pour into me what I needed to hear that day to help me keep going, help me do it. And that's why you can't ever be afraid to talk to somebody. Exactly. Because you don't ever know who has what you need. You don't ever know. And there's going to be a lot of people who act like they care and they don't. But there's going to be that one person that generally cares about you, and they're going to try to take everything that you say and make it worthwhile. And they're going to try to turn it around for your good, and they're going to try to help you. If you find one good friend in the world, you've got everything.
Yes,
got everything. So one person that supports you, one person that loves you, and all you need is one. If it's only your mother that subscribes to you, guess what? You got one person. That's what you got. And you know what? It'll grow because a mother's love never flourishes anything. It never lets anything go to waste. Somebody will listen to you too because mama loves you like nobody else does. And she's going to tell everybody about you. You know it.
Well, what made me laugh is my mother is in a nursing home and she has dementia, and she has her good days and bad days, but it's nothing like when I come through them doors and she sees me and that smile comes on her face, nothing else matters.
Right.
Not a damn thing.
She's just so happy to see you. And
exactly.
That's
and loves to brag. She just brags on me all the time. And it's like, I just sit back, smile. That's what mama said. That's what mama means.
Absolutely.
I am a big person and true believer in giving people flowers when they deserve them. There's too many times that people mean something to the world and they never get a chance to hear it until after they're gone.
Yeah.
I've lost too many people where I didn't get a chance to tell them how I felt, and I've made a declaration that I was going to do better and let people know how I feel. And if I think they deserve flowers, I'm going to give them their flowers. You are, again, I've said it 3 times now, and I'm going to say it again. You are a genuine person. You do amazing work. You make me want to be better just on so many different levels. And again, I'm so proud to call you a friend, and I wanted to give you your flowers and let you enjoy them and tell you thank you for helping making the business that we both love that much better.
Absolutely. And guys, if you love the business, if you love professional wrestling, find a way to do something for it. And don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. I told you guys earlier, we cleaned bathrooms. We put out chairs. We sold tickets. We ran concession stands. We still go to shows and we run camera and we do different things for them. We weren't always where we're at today. You got to start somewhere and you got to show somewhere. You got to show that you're faithful somewhere and the word will get out. Eventually it'll be, why don't you come work with us down here? Why don't you come and do this for us? And hey, would you like to go to this show? Or if you're not being invited, buy a ticket.
Man.
You know, what's it hurt? What's it hurt to get you guys to buy a ticket somewhere and go and do what you love? Go and record it with your iPhone. I mean, if that's what you got, that's what you got. You don't have to have a Black Magic design camera in order to record it and have perfect quality. Use your iPhone. It'll work just as good and you get just as good quality, and you can send it all over social media in just a couple taps of a button for you.
Exactly.
So start where you guys can start. Don't worry about where you're at today, because you're not going to stay where you're at today forever. You're going to move on to bigger and better things.
You just got to put the work in.
Yeah, absolutely, Professor. Absolutely. And sometimes I don't think we do enough, you know, and I know we do, but in my mind, it's like, am I doing everything that I can? Am I doing everything to help professional wrestling? Am I doing everything for everybody? And it's hard because you get pulled. You get people that message you and you kind of got to weigh through it sometimes. Who's really real and who's not? And who was going to call you on the phone and talk to you about this promotion and really be honest about it and really want to move out? Professor, I contacted you earlier. I told you, I think I got some big news for you. And I want you to break that news when it's ready, you know, but I know that there's going to be a time where somebody's going to come into your life and they're going to go, hey, I think I can help you. Why don't we do this? Or why don't you contact this person? Because I believe this person's going to help you in such a way and such a manner. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on, like the 31st, of course, you know, we've got a lot of stuff that's going to be happening the 31st with Snoo and Gemstone Professional Wrestling in Gastonia, North Carolina at the VFW that's up there. We're going to be a part of that show. We're going to be running a live podcast there. Hopefully, if everything works out great, we're going to be having that dual show and doing a little video for it too. Sarah's going to be taking some pictures. So we're going to be out at both of those shows making that great. And, you know, we had the American Diesel dump truck last night that came on, and he had a lot of stuff that he needed to get off his chest, Professor. He's been through a lot the past year. He's been treated really bad the past year by a lot of people, and he had to get some things out. Not only did he have to get it out to the public, the American public, who deserved the right to know about what was said to him and what was done to him and how people treated him, but he also had the right to go and get the grievances settled with the people that did it. And he did both of those. And then he got the okay to tell the story. So I'm okay with you coming on if you got grievances. If you want to say something that you have to get off your chest, I'm okay with that on my show. Sometimes there's language, and you can attest to this. Whenever we posted it to the Wrestling Society Network, we put a warning on there. Explicit content. You know, if you're not good with language, please don't watch this. Don't let your children watch this. We are going to give you the explicit warning when it happens, because sometimes we're people. We get emotional. We all have things that are built up inside of us, and sometimes we let it out. Chuck was at that point last night. He had to turn off that valve and get it over. And we want to encourage each of you, if you had a chance to go back and watch it or listen to it, we would love for you to do that. You can catch it on my Facebook page at Joseph D. Hughes, facebook.com/Joseph D. Hughes, as it's spelled right below for you. You can catch it on Twitter at, on twitch.tv/Arabbidb3aver. You can catch it on Twitter at McFoo_02 or Arabbidb3aver, as it's spelled right below underneath my name. You can catch it on Rumble at Arabbidb3aver. You can catch it at Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver or Nerdy Gaming with Arabbidb3aver132 on YouTube. We would love to have you guys just come out and join us anytime that you all are available. And Professor Bear, I know that on Thursday nights, we run another show for River City Media. You guys are more than welcome to join us anytime for River City Media. It's Still Real to Me, where we have booked some major guests that are going to be coming on in the future, such as Ray Fury is going to be here in a couple weeks.
Oh, wow.
Rip Rogers is going to be available to us. And we're going to break it right here for you. We're going to have Dwayne Smith and Luke Gallows come out and be with us in a couple weeks as well. And things just started to turn around for us really well. And so we're going to have a lot of big names come on and help us get over the hump that we need to be in. And we're going to be doing the best we can for those. So we want to invite you guys out to River City Media on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. The only night that we're going to be taking off in the next month is going to be the 19th of February. We're going to be doing a pre-recorded show for that. Everybody's got pre-obligations for that, but we are going to be live 8 p.m. on Thursday nights there. And then I do Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver right here on Facebook Live or wherever you guys are going to be catching it on any of those that I've mentioned earlier. At 8 p.m. on Facebook Live or at Twitch, Twitter, Rumble. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us afterwards on YouTube, I should say, because we will post-record it for YouTube. You can catch us directly if you're on radio. You can catch us at iHeartRadio, Audible. You can catch us on Buzzsprout directly. You can catch us all over Deezer, Podchaser. There's about 700 of them that we're on currently. But you can catch us all over at Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver. Arabbidb3aver spelled just like it is there, but Wrestle Talk with all together. And you can catch my logo, which I know you can't see it right there, but it's got a little microphone that is in a triangle there, and Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver. That's how you catch us, guys.
And unfortunately, because I don't know why I forget so badly, but the QR code that I just put up probably 2 minutes ago will take you directly to his YouTube page. So
thank you, guys.
Yeah. Now, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Again, I appreciate everything you do for me. I'm glad to be able to call you a friend. And anytime you need anything from me, you just got to let me know, and I'll do the best I can.
Well, Professor Bear, I think in the future, if everything works out with our show, both of our shows, I think I'm going to be throwing you some softballs here every once in a while to try to help you out. I know that you've got to a plateau on your platform, and we want you to succeed just like we're succeeding. And just like I did today, I'm going to reach out in the future, and you guys need to be watching A Bear's Thoughts, and you need to be watching the Wrestling Society Network, wherever you get it at, and you need to be checking out what's going to be happening in the days to come for Professor Bear. Because Professor Bear, I know that one contact that I got you today, they have about 16 people that would be interested and would love to be on your show, including somebody that we know has been struggling here recently, but he's going to have his own line of beard stuff and male enhancement stuff that's going to be coming out as well. So you guys need to be sticking around for A Bear's Thoughts for when this happens.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a great year for WSN, and I'm just looking forward to it.
We are too.
Again, thank you so very much. Guys, girls, this has been another amazing conversation around the campfire. I thank y'all for listening. As I always say, before I can leave, please, please, please support your local wrestling. Please do. You just never know who you may see there. And it's so much. I say it all the time. I'm not saying it's better. I'm not saying it's worse. What I'm saying is a different atmosphere that you will enjoy. And if you have family and you take them, I guarantee you're going to create memories that's going to last a lifetime. So, with that being said, I am Professor Bear. This has been a Bear's Thought, and we will see you again around the campfire very, very soon. Y'all
Bye,
take
guys. We love y'all.